Imagine this for a moment. Two people walk into the same room with the same skills, the same intelligence, and the same opportunities. 5 years later, one is leading teams, closing deals, and influencing decisions, while the other is still struggling to be heard. What made the difference wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it was the ability to understand people. That single skill, how you deal with people, can quietly determine the direction of your career, your relationships, and even your happiness. And almost a century ago, one book distilled this truth so clearly that it became one of the best-selling self-development books of all time. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This isn't a book about manipulation. It's not about tricks or fake charm. It's about human nature, how people actually think, feel, and react, and how learning to work with that nature instead of against it can transform your life. Dale Carnegie wasn't a psychologist in a lab or a philosopher in an ivory tower. He was a teacher, a speaker, and a keen observer of everyday human behavior. Born in 1888 into poverty, Carnegie grew up understanding struggle firsthand. He watched people fail not because they lacked ability, but because they lacked social understanding. Later, as he taught public speaking and interpersonal skills, he noticed patterns, what made people respond, cooperate, and trust. From thousands of real-life examples, business leaders, parents, employees, politicians, Carnegie extracted timeless principles that still work today. Whether you're leading a company, negotiating a salary, building friendships, or navigating family life. At the heart of this book is one powerful idea. You cannot change people by criticizing, blaming, or forcing them. You influence people by understanding their emotions and appealing to their sense of importance. This may sound obvious, but most of us do the exact opposite. When someone makes a mistake, our instinct is to correct them. When someone disagrees with us, we try to prove them wrong. When we want something, we focus on what we want, not what they care about. Carnegie argues that this approach fails because it ignores a basic psychological truth. Every human being wants to feel important, respected, and understood. People don't resist ideas, they resist feeling disrespected. People don't reject logic, they reject threats to their ego. That's why arguments rarely change minds. That's why criticism breeds defensiveness. And that's why even the smartest idea can fail if it's delivered the wrong way. Instead of asking, "How do I get my way?" Carnegie flips the question to, "How do I make the other person want to do this?" This shift from force to influence, from ego to empathy, is the foundation of everything in this book. Another core belief Carnegie emphasizes is that human behavior is driven more by emotion than by reason. We like to think we're logical creatures, but in reality, emotion comes first, and logic often follows just to justify how we already feel. If you ignore emotions, you lose people. If you understand them, you gain cooperation. Carnegie also challenges the idea that winning arguments is valuable. Even if you technically win an argument, you often lose something more important: goodwill. And goodwill, trust, respect, positive relationships, is what opens doors long after facts are forgotten. So this book is not about being louder, smarter, or more dominant. It's about being more aware. Aware of how words land. Aware of how pride operates. Aware of how deeply people crave appreciation. As we move forward, you'll notice something fascinating. The principles in this book are simple, almost obvious, but they are rarely practiced, and that's why they're powerful. Because mastering human relationships isn't about learning complex theories, it's about consistently choosing understanding over ego, empathy over judgment, and influence over control. With that foundation in mind, we now arrive at the first major principle, and it may be the most uncomfortable one of all. Principle 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. At first glance, this sounds unrealistic. Criticism feels necessary. Complaints feel justified. Condemnation feels deserved. But Carnegie makes a bold claim. Criticism almost never produces lasting positive change. Why? Because criticism puts people on the defensive. The moment someone feels attacked, their mind stops listening and starts protecting their ego. Even when criticism is factually correct, emotionally it fails. Carnegie illustrates this with countless real-world examples, but let's ground it in everyday life. Think about the last time someone criticized you, even gently. Did you immediately feel motivated to improve? Or did you feel a subtle urge to explain yourself, justify your behavior, or mentally push back? Most people do the second. That's because criticism threatens our self-image, and when self-image is threatened, learning shuts down. Carnegie points out something deeply human. Very few people ever see themselves as wrong. Even criminals, when interviewed, justify their actions. They don't wake up thinking, "I'm the villain." They wake up thinking, "I had a reason." This doesn't mean people are evil. It means people are human. When we criticize, we're essentially saying, "I'm superior, you're flawed." Even if we don't mean it that way, that's how it feels. And feelings, not facts, drive reactions. Consider a workplace example. An employee misses a deadline. One manager says, "This is unacceptable, you're irresponsible." Another says, "Let's look at what got in the way and how we can prevent it next time." The first creates fear and resentment. The second creates accountability without humiliation. Same problem, completely different outcome. Carnegie also reminds us that complaining is just criticism without solutions. It drains energy, spreads negativity, and rarely fixes the issue. People may agree with your complaint, but agreement doesn't equal action, and it certainly doesn't equal loyalty. The deeper lesson here isn't never correct anyone. It's this: if you want to change behavior, protect dignity first. Correction works best when it feels like guidance, not judgment. Now let's move to the second principle, which seems simple but is surprisingly rare. Principle 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. This is not flattery. Carnegie is very clear about that. Flattery is cheap, exaggerated, and often self-serving. People sense it instantly. Appreciation, on the other hand, is specific, genuine, and earned. Here's the psychological truth behind it. Appreciation is the emotional fuel of human behavior. People will work harder for appreciation than for money alone. They will stay longer for appreciation than for perks. They will change faster when they feel valued. Why? Because appreciation satisfies that deep human hunger to feel important. Think about how rarely we express genuine appreciation. We assume people know. We assume results speak for themselves. But unspoken appreciation might as well not exist. Carnegie shares examples of managers who transformed teams simply by noticing effort instead of pointing out mistakes. Parents who changed their children's behavior by praising progress instead of highlighting failure. Relationships repaired not by arguments, but by acknowledgement. And here's the key: appreciation must be specific. Good job is nice. You handled that conversation with real patience. That made a difference is powerful. Specific appreciation tells someone, I see you, I notice what you do, you matter. There's also an important balance here. Appreciation doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means leading with recognition instead of fault-finding. When people feel valued, they become more open to feedback. When they feel invisible, they resist everything. So the first two principles work together. Don't destroy motivation through criticism. Build motivation through sincere appreciation. When you stop attacking people's mistakes and start recognizing their strengths, something remarkable happens. People begin to correct themselves. They rise to the identity you reflect back to them. And once you understand that, you're ready for the next shift, learning how to influence behavior without commands, pressure, or force. This brings us to the third principle, and this is where influence truly becomes an art. Principle 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. Most people approach persuasion backwards. They talk about what they want, their needs, their goals, their problems. But Carnegie reminds us of a simple truth. People are only interested in what they want. If you want to influence someone, you must first step into their world. Imagine trying to convince someone to exercise by saying, you should work out more, it's good for you. That's logical, but weak. Now imagine saying, you'll have more energy, feel more confident, and reduce stress. Same action, different focus. One speaks to duty, the other speaks to desire. Carnegie explains that influence happens when you connect your request to the other person's self-interest, not selfishness, but genuine human motivation. In business, this might mean framing an idea in terms of how it helps the team succeed, not how it makes you look good. In relationships, it means understanding what makes the other person feel safe, respected, and heard. In leadership, it means aligning goals with people's personal growth, not just organizational targets. One of Carnegie's most powerful insights is this: the only way to get someone to do something is to make them want to do it. Not through pressure, not through authority, not through guilt, through desire. This doesn't mean manipulation. Manipulation hides motives. Influence aligns them. To apply this principle, Carnegie suggests a practical mental habit. Before you speak, pause and ask, why would this matter to them? If you can't answer that, your message will likely fall flat. When people feel that their needs are understood, resistance drops, cooperation increases, and influence becomes natural instead of forced. Now we move to the fourth principle, one that can instantly improve conversations, negotiations, and even conflicts. Principle 4, become genuinely interested in other people. This principle sounds simple, but it's profoundly countercultural. Most conversations are quiet competitions. We wait for our turn to speak. We listen just enough to respond. We think about what we'll say next instead of truly hearing what's being said. Carnegie flips that script. He argues that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the fastest way to show care is genuine interest. Not pretending, not strategic curiosity, real interest. When you ask people about themselves, their experiences, their opinions, their challenges, you give them something rare, attention. And attention is one of the most valuable gifts you can offer. Carnegie tells us that a person who talks only about themselves quickly becomes uninteresting, no matter how impressive they are. But a person who listens, asks thoughtful questions, and remembers small details becomes magnetic. This applies everywhere. In networking, the most memorable person is rarely the one who talks the most, it's the one who listens best. In leadership, employees feel loyalty not to titles, but to leaders who understand them. In friendships, bonds deepen when people feel truly seen. There's also a practical skill here. Listen with the intent to understand, not to reply. That means maintaining eye contact, asking follow-up questions, and letting people finish their thoughts without interruption. When you do this consistently, people associate you with positive emotions. They feel respected in your presence, and that emotional association is the foundation of influence. What's fascinating is that these principles don't require you to be charismatic, extroverted, or naturally charming. They require awareness. They require restraint. They require humility. And when you combine them, avoiding criticism, offering sincere appreciation, appealing to desire, and showing genuine interest, you create something rare in today's world: trust. As we move into the final section, we'll explore how these ideas scale, how they apply to leadership, disagreement, and long-term influence, and how you can turn these timeless principles into daily habits that quietly reshape the way people respond to you. At this level, Carnegie shifts from individual interactions to long-term influence, the kind that shapes reputations, leadership, and lasting relationships. One of the most powerful advanced ideas in the book is this: the best leaders don't win people over by asserting authority, but by preserving dignity. When people feel embarrassed, corrected publicly, or talked down to, they may comply, but they never commit. True influence comes from making people feel capable, respected, and trusted. This is why Carnegie emphasizes the importance of letting others save face. If someone makes a mistake, correct it privately. If they struggle, offer help without spotlighting failure. When dignity is protected, people become more open, more loyal, and more willing to improve. Another advanced principle is to appeal to people's nobler motives. Most individuals want to see themselves as fair, honest, and capable. When you frame requests in a way that aligns with those self-images, people rise to meet them. Instead of saying, "This needs to be fixed because it's wrong," you might say, "I know you care about quality, and that's why I wanted your input here." That subtle shift invites cooperation rather than resistance. Carnegie also teaches that giving people a fine reputation to live up to is one of the fastest ways to inspire change. When you highlight someone's strengths, even if they're still developing, people often work hard to prove that reputation true. If you tell someone, "You're very reliable and I trust you with this," you're not just assigning a task, you're shaping identity. And people will often act in ways that protect the identity you reflect back to them. As the book moves toward its conclusion, Carnegie leaves us with a quiet but transformative insight. Your success is deeply connected to how you make people feel. People may forget your words, they may forget your achievements, but they will never forget how you treated them. Influence, at its core, is emotional memory. So, how do you turn all of this into daily practice? Start small. Replace one criticism with one thoughtful question. Replace one complaint with one sincere appreciation. In your next conversation, listen 10% more than you speak. Before making a request, frame it in terms of the other person's wants, not yours. These are not dramatic changes, but practiced consistently, they compound. Dale Carnegie's genius was not in inventing new ideas, but in revealing truths we already sense, and then challenging us to live by them. This book endures because human nature hasn't changed. People still crave respect. They still resist force. They still respond to empathy. If you want better relationships, don't try to win arguments. If you want more influence, don't demand compliance. If you want to lead, start by understanding. And the real challenge, the one Carnegie leaves in our hands, is simple but demanding. The next time you interact with someone, ask yourself not how can I impress them, but how can I make them feel important? Because when you master that, you don't just win friends, you influence lives.